ಸಪ್ತಾಹದಲ್ಲಿ 4ನೇ ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಕಾಲಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವೆ. 3ನೇ ಪ್ರವಚನ ಈಗ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭವಾಗಲಿದೆ. ಈ ದಿನ ಬೆಳಗಿನ ಹೊತ್ತು ಶ್ರೀ ಪ್ರಕಾಶಾನಂದ ಸರಸ್ವತಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳವರು ತಮ್ಮ 2 ಪ್ರವಚನಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 3ನೇ ಪ್ರವಚನವಾಗಿ ಒಬ್ಬ ವಿಶಿಷ್ಟವಾದ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವರ ಹೆಸರು ಡೇವಿಡ್ ಪರ್ಸಿಚಿನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಇವರು ಮೂಲತಃ ಇಟಲಿಯವರು. ಇಟಲಿಯಿಂದ ಭಾರತಕ್ಕೆ ಇವರು ಬಂದು ಈ ತಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಅಧ್ಯಯನವನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪೂರ್ವದ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಇವರು ಬ್ಯಾಚುಲರ್ ಇನ್ ಆಂಥ್ರೋಪಾಲಜಿ ಅಂಡ್ ರಿಲಿಜನ್, ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಾಲಜಿ, ಇಟಲಿಯ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇವರು ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈಗ ಪ್ರಕೃತವಾಗಿ ಭಾರತೀಯ ಅದ್ವೈತ ವೇದಾಂತದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಅದ್ವೈತ ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಮ್ಮ PhD ನೆರವೇರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವರಿಗೆ ಭಾರತದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಅಪಾರವಾದ ಗೌರವ, ಹಿಂದೂ ಧರ್ಮದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೂಡ ಇವರಿಗೆ ವಿಶೇಷವಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಿಷ್ಠೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಬಹುದು. ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರನ್ನ ಈಗ ಹೈಂದವ ಹೆಸರು ಕೃಷ್ಣಶಂಕರ ಅಂತ ತಮ್ಮ ಗುರುಗಳ ಅನುಗ್ರಹದಿಂದ ಪಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಶ್ರೀ ಪ್ರಕಾಶಾನಂದ ಸರಸ್ವತಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣಶಂಕರ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಹೈಂದವ ಹೆಸರನ್ನು ಅವರಿಗೆ ನೀಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ತಮ್ಮ ನಿತ್ಯಾನುಷ್ಠಾನಗಳನ್ನ ಇವರು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಧ್ಯಯನದಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಅದರಾಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಕಳೆದ 4 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಇವರು ವೇದಾಂತದ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ವಿದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದುಕೊಂಡೇ ಶ್ರೀ ಪ್ರಕಾಶಾನಂದ ಸರಸ್ವತಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳವರ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಪಾಠಗಳನ್ನ ಕೇಳಿಕೊಂಡು ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವರ ಒಂದು ವಿಚಾರಧಾರೆ ಹೇಗಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾದಷ್ಟು ಕೂಡ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳ ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳ ಅಧ್ಯಯನವನ್ನ ತನ್ನ ಜೀವನವಡಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲದೇನೆ ಭಾರತೀಯ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿ ಏನಿದೆಯೋ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ತನ್ನ ಕೈಲಾದಷ್ಟು ಸೇವೆಯನ್ನು ಸಲ್ಲಿಸಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನುವ ಒಂದು ಆಕಾಂಕ್ಷೆಯನ್ನು ಹೃದಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಂತಹ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳು ಇವರು ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳಿಂದ ಪ್ರಭಾವಿತರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಗೆಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಸರಸ್ವತಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆಳವಾದ ಭಕ್ತಿ, ಪ್ರೇಮ ಇದ್ದೇ ಇದೆ. ಆದರೆ ಈ ನೆಲದ ಒಂದು ಸಂಸ್ಕಾರವೇ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಸಹಜವಾಗಿ ಬಂದುಬಿಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಗುರು ಹಿರಿಯರಲ್ಲಿ ಗೌರವ, ಪ್ರೇಮ ಸಹಜವಾಗಿ ಇದ್ದು ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಅವರ ನೆಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ಭಾವಗಳೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದೊಂದು ಒಣ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಅಂತಹ ವಿಷಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಟೀಚರ್ಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನೋ ಅವ್ರ ಗೌರವವನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗೇನಿಲ್ಲ. ಗುರುಭಾವವನ್ನು ಅವರೇನು ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಥರ ಸಂಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು ಅವರಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಇವರು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದು ಆ ಭಾವವನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹಾಗೆ ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ನಮ್ಗೆಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಪಾಶ್ಚಿಮಾತ್ಯದ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಭಾವ ಉಂಟಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಸಂಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು ಕೊರತೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇಂತಹವರು ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಸನಾತನದ ಸಂಸ್ಕಾರಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು, ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಇದು ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ರೇರಣೆ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಉದ್ದೇಶದಿಂದ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಇವರ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರವಚನವನ್ನ ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಸಂಕಲ್ಪ ಆಯ್ತು. ಇದು ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲೇ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಜನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ. ಇವರು ಕನ್ನಡದ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಆಳವಾದ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಆದ್ರೆ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಕನ್ನಡವನ್ನು ಕತ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಕನ್ನಡ ಕತ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಸರಸ್ವತಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳವರ ಕನ್ನಡ ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳು ಅಮೋಘವಾಗಿವೆ, ಬಹಳ ವಿಪುಲವಾಗಿದೆ. ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಓದಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಸಂಕಲ್ಪ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಇವರು ಕನ್ನಡ ಕಲಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ತಾಯಿಂದರು ಕನ್ನಡ ಭಾಷೆಯ ಸ್ಪರ್ಶವೇ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಆಗಿದ್ದಂಗೆ ಕಾನ್ವೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳಿಸಿ, ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಮಗು ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಮಗು ಜೊತೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾತಾಡಿಸಿ ಆ ಮಗುವಿಗೆ ಚಿಂತನಾ ಭಾಷೆಯಾಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡವನ್ನ ಬಳಸಿ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ತರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಸದ್ಗುರುಗಳ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಆಸಕ್ತಿಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡ ಭಾಷೆಯನ್ನು ಇವರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಕಲಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಭಾಷೆಯಂತೂ ಇವರು ಕಲಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಕೂಡ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಭಾಷೆಯನ್ನು ಕಲಿಯೋದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಮುಖ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಇದ್ರೂ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗತ್ತೆ. ನಾವು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತವನ್ನು ಕಲಿಬೇಕು, ನಮ್ಮ ಕನ್ನಡವನ್ನು ಕಲಿಬೇಕು, ಸದ್ಗುರುಗಳ ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಓದಬೇಕು. ಆ ಒಂದು ವಿಷಯಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಇವರನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇವರಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತಹ ಈಗಿನ ಒಂದು ಉಪದೇಶ, ಒಂದು ಪ್ರವಚನದ ವಿಷಯ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಶ್ರೀಗಳವರ ಉಪದೇಶ ಮತ್ತು ಪ್ರಭಾವ. ಅದರ ಕುರಿತು ತಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತಿಯನ್ನು ಅವರು ಮಾಡೋರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸರಳವಾದ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಯಾರು ಕನ್ನಡಿಗರಿದ್ದೀರೋ, ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷಿನ ಪರಿಚಯ ಇಲ್ವೋ ಅವರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಕ್ಷಮೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಇವರು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ನಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾತಾಡೋರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇವರು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ನನ್ನ ಭರವಸೆ ಇದೆ. ಶ್ರೀಯುತರು ತಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರವಚನವನ್ನು ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ.
ಗುರು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಗುರು ವಿಷ್ಣು ಗುರುರ್ದೇವೋ ಮಹೇಶ್ವರಃ ಗುರು ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ಪರಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ತಸ್ಮೈ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರವೇ ನಮಃ. ಶ್ರುತಿ ಸ್ಮೃತಿ ಪುರಾಣಾನಾಂ ಆಲಯಂ ಕರುಣಾಲಯಂ ನಮಾಮಿ ಭಗವತ್ಪಾದಶಂಕರಂ ಲೋಕಶಂಕರಂ ಶಂಕರಂ ಶಂಕರಾಚಾರ್ಯಂ ಕೇಶವಂ ಬಾದರಾಯಣಂ ಸೂತ್ರಭಾಷ್ಯಕೃತೌ ವಂದೇ ಭಗವಂತೋ ಪುನಃ. So, before starting my talk, I would like to express my gratitude to all the members of Adhyatma Prakash Prayana. I think, okay, this is good. Yeah. So I would like to express my deep gratitude towards all the members of Adhyatma Prakash Prayana. It is an honor and a privilege to be here, to study here. And I think it is thanks to these institutions, these Mata ashrams, that the flame of Sanatana Dharma has been kept alive and is still living even nowadays in this age of Kali, this Kali-yuga. So today I am speaking English. I was asked to speak in English, and I hope next year I'll be able to give my pravachana in Kannada or non-study, or maybe in Sanskrit if I improve. So the topic of today is the impact of Swami Sachidanandendra Saraswati. Actually, if you want to exaggerate the importance of Swami Sachidanandendra Saraswati, it will be very difficult. If we just take a look at this literary output, his production, it is astonishing. He wrote more than 200 works in Kannada, in Sanskrit, in English, covering various aspects of Indian philosophical systems. He wrote mainly on the Shuddha Shankara Prakriya, the pristine pure doctrine of Adi Shankaracharya. But not only that, he wrote commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. He wrote about Bhakti. He translated Narada's Bhakti Sutra into English. He wrote a Sanskrit commentary of Narada's Bhakti Sutra, Bhakti Chandrika, where he showed that the Parabhakti, the Supreme Bhakti, and Jnana are one and the same.
It is a translation. It's a translation of Kannada book. It's not written by him. It's a translation.
Translation, yes. Bhakti Chandrika. And how to forget his translations of the entire Prasthanatraya Bhashya into Kannada, which is why now Kannadigas, the people of Karnataka, have the best translation available compared to other parts of India. So he brought so many, his contribution is so great that today I would like to highlight just certain points, I would like to bring out certain major contribution of Swami Satchidananda in the field of, especially of Advaita, in the field of Shuddha Shankara Pratyaya. So, according to me, the major contribution of Swami Satchidananda are mainly three. First of all, the rediscovery of the Adhyaropa Pavada Nyaya, the authentic method of Advaita Vedanta. It is not a discovery, it is a rediscovery. It is not Avishkarana, it's Punaraviskarana. He rediscovered the authentic method. He didn't invent anything. Whatever he says, he based his quotes on Adi Shankaracharya. The second major contribution is his criticism towards the concept of Mulavidya, the doctrine of causal ignorance, which was elaborated by Vyakhyanakaras. And we show that the authentic Shankara's doctrine on avidya is that avidya is synonymous with adhyasa. It's just an epistemological principle. And the third major contribution, I think, is the way he taught the Avastatraya Viveka, the science of three states, how he showed the real import, the real methodology of Avastatraya. So, he's, first of all, Swamiji's, I think he was blessed directly by Shankaracharya, because if we look at the way how he studied Prasthanatraya, the works of Shankaracharya, he, when he was studying with Virupaksha Shastri, Dvaita Vedanta, Virupaksha Shastri decided to teach him and only other few Shishyas only the Shankara Bhashyas. He didn't teach him Vyakhyanakaras, the sub-commenters. He taught him just the Shankara Bhashya, Prasthanatraya. So in this way, Swamiji's realized very soon, and also with the help of Krishna Swami Iyer, he realized very soon that all the sub-commentators of Adi Shankaracharya, with the exception of Sureshwaracharya, basically they had not done justice towards Shankaracharya. They misrepresented Shankaracharya. They didn't understand his philosophy, his methodology. And so, we could say that he, in some sense, he reverted the traditional way of studying Shankara. Usually Shankara is taught through the help of Vyakhyanakaras. So you study Shankara through the lens of Vyakhyanakara. You use certain Prakaranas Granthas, you start with Panchadashi, Vedanta Sara. So, and then gradually you start studying Shankara Bhashyas. So when you come to Shankara Bhashya, you have certain ideas, certain concepts are in your mind. So you will subconsciously impose that conception to Shankaracharya's words. And you will misinterpret Shankaracharya. Swamiji's did right the opposite. He first studied Shankara, and then he understood the difference with the post-Shankarans. So he interpreted the post-Shankaran through the lens of Shankaracharya. So he inverted the traditional hermeneutical approach, interpretation, the science of interpretation. So Swamiji, with the study of only the Prasthanatraya Bhashya, he came to certain conclusion. He understood certain principles. First of all, he understood that all the Upanishads, the second part of the Vedas, the Jnana-kanda, they employ a particular methodology in order to teach about Brahman. So, Upanishads are a pramana, atyanta pramana. They are a means of knowledge. they are supposed to teach Brahman. But if we read the Upanishads, we will see that there are many contradictory statements. We have Srishti Vakya, we have Nirguna Vakya, Dvaita Vakya. There are symbols in the Upanishad, there are many tales, stories. So it is difficult to, it is like a chaos, you see. People say Upanishads are like a chaos. Even certain Indologists say there is no method, there is no doctrine in the Upanishads. Upanishads, they contradict themselves. They don't teach just one doctrine. But Swamiji, he understood very clearly that all the Upanishads employ a particular method. They teach with, by the help of a particular methodology prakriya. And so how I would say something about how this method works. So we have to, if we want to teach Brahman, Brahman is the ultimate reality. Brahman is the absolute. It is Advaita. It is different from whatever object we see in the world. All the objects we see are somewhat they are padartha. They are objects and they can be expressed with some words. So you can refer to them. I can teach about the tree, I can teach about things, and also I can refer to mental concepts, abstract ideas. I can teach all these things, but how to teach about the seer, the one who is teaching, the one who is seeing all the objects? He cannot be objectified. He is the sakshi, the witness. So how to teach about this reality? So Swamiji understood the only thing we can do is to deny certain misconceptions that we have regarding Brahmins, to deny certain concepts, certain ideas that we are entertaining. So, for example, we think that the body is Atma, which is Brahman. We think that the world is existing, is an independent reality. We are born with certain misconceptions. So the methodology of Vedanta is to remove all these misconceptions. And in particular, it employs this adhyaropa apavada. So this methodology works, I would say it's a combined process of two steps, fundamental steps. The first part is adhyaropa, which means superimposition. Deliberate superimposition, intentional or pedagogical, let's say. So it is a superimposition that the teacher is doing intentionally. He is consciously imposing on Brahman certain attributes, certain qualities, with the intention of removing other misconceptions that the person has. One or more. One adhyaropa can remove even one or more other natural adhyaropas, natural misconceptions that we have, that are swabhavika. And it superimposes certain attributes and qualities on Brahman, but Brahman actually doesn't have those qualities. These qualities are just tentative superimposing Brahman. Brahman is nirguna. Brahman is Advaita. He doesn't have quality, attributes. It's pure Sachidananda. It's pure existence. So, the second part of the method is apavada. Apavada means rescission, retraction or rescission. So, whatever adhyaropa I had imposed on Brahman, I then retract it. I remove it. I say neti neti. No, actually it is not like this. It was just the first part of the teaching. The second part of the teaching, it is not like that. So, for example, there are two methods that are very, I think, easy to understand, very immediate in some sense. The first one is from the, I would say, adhyatmika standpoint, from microcosm level, the microcosm level. And because this method, one thing is, this method is basically one, but it has many varieties. So Swamiji says it is nanarupa. It has different forms. And as I was saying before, his method was not invented by Swamiji. He was there in Shankara. If we take Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, 13th shloka, Shankaracharya says, Tatahi sampradayadam vachanam adhyarupapavadabhyam vishprapancham prapanchati. So, those who know the traditions, the acharyas that came before us, that those who know the real authentic Vedantic tradition, they know that the reality which is void of all multiplicity of the world is taught through Adhyaropamavada. So this is the traditional Vedantic method of teachings. Even the Purvacharyas, the acharyas that came after Shankara, so they knew this method, of course, but Swamiji's show that this method is actually the only method employed by all the Upanishads. So all the other methods are just variants, modalities of this only one method. Like other method like Panchakosha Viveka, Karana Karya, Prakriya, all these methods are just varieties of Adhyarupamavada. So how this method works? I would like, I think one of the simple ways to understand this method is through this Panchakosha Viveka, which is an Adhyatmika method. I mean, it is a method elaborated from the microcosm level. So, for example, all human beings have one conception, that they are the physical body. This is the natural condition of all human beings. So, you see, in Taittiriya Upanishad, first the Taittiriya Upanishad say that there is this Atma is the physical body. Okay, it's Annamaya. Then it says, but there is another Atma. That Atma is Pranamaya Kosha. So your Atma is not the physical body, it is Prana. So we start identifying ourselves from the physical body to the subtle body, to the Prana. We start shifting our consciousness towards an inner level, this Pranamaya Kosha. So this is the Adhyaropa that removes the previous misconception that we have. Then the Upanishad continues and say, no, there is another Atma. There is not only Pranamaya Kosha, there is an inner Atma, which is Vijnanamaya Kosha. Manomaya Kosha. There is Manomaya Kosha. And then the Upanishad continues, say, okay, no, there is another Atma, Vijnanamaya Kosha. Then gradually it removes all these misconceptions. And it comes to the point to say that there is Anandamaya Kosha. Till the point where it removes all these koshas and says there is only Sakshi. So you see how this method works. First, superimpose certain attributes on Atma, identifies Atma with certain qualities, certain objects. Then it gradually removes those Adhyaropa and that's the Apavada, neti. Another variance of this method, for example, is the Karana Karya Prakriya, the method of cause and effect. So, this method is more from an adhidaivica standpoint, from a microcosm level. So, this method is aimed to remove certain ideas that we have. So, we all think that there is a world outside. And this world is eternal, it is achetana, it is immaterial, and it is eternal. It has always existed. It is independent of certain cause. It has no intelligent cause also. If you see all the scientists, the major part of scientists in the Western world, they think that the world is achetana, and they have this Big Bang theory that everything comes from one atom. We also have in Indian philosophy certain conception like this. No? They don't think that there is some Ishvara, certain principle, metaphysical principle for this reality. So the method first accept the existence of the world and say, yes, but there is a cause for this world, and that cause is Brahman. There is one Chetana, intelligent cause of this world. That cause is Brahman. So now we are in a situation where we have Brahman that creates the world, and we have the world, which are there. So we are in a situation of still we are in duality. There is a principle and there is a word, there is a karana, there is karya. So Upanishad goes on and remove also that karanatva, that causality that's superimposed on Brahman. The Upanishad does the retraction of the teachings and say there is ananyatva. The effect is actually not different from the cause. There is actually no effects. The effect is vacharam, namamatra. It is just a name that we are imposing. The effect that doesn't exist, the only thing that exists, it is the cause. But the cause then becomes, it is no more a cause. It is directly Brahman, it is a non-dual Brahman. So you see how this method works. And this is really revolutionary, because all the contradiction that you see in the Upanishads, that there are vakyas that talk about creation, then we have neti. So some people interpret like, okay, there is Brahman, but Brahman is creating the world, so he's Saguna, so there is a creator, we don't accept Advaita. We have all these kind of positions. But if we keep in mind this methodology, we can do the samanvaya, concordance of all these particular vakyas. Because whenever the Upanishad talks about the Srishti, it is doing that as an adhyaroga. So it is still teaching the Shishya. Then the Upanishad, when the Upanishad talks, say, neti, not this, not that, then it is doing the apavada. It's removing that preliminary superimposition, and that is the final standpoint, that there is only the non-dual reality. So these are regarding adhyaropa apavada prakriya. And this was the first revolution, how Swamiji revolutionized the field of Vedantic studies with this discovery. Coming to the second point that I mentioned, the second big contribution of Swamiji, I say regarding avidya. This is a very big topic that started in and I would say with the publication of Mula Vidya Vilasaha in 1929, where and of course this avidya has been very at the center of many debates across centuries. All the Vyakhyanakaras, they all have certain different views regarding avidya, regarding the ashraya, where is this avidya located, regarding the swarupa, what is this avidya, how many avidyas are there? There is one avidya, there are many avidyas. For every jiva has a sort of misconception. So it is a very at the center of many debates. And but Swamiji has serious difficulties in accepting the Vyakhyanakara's concept of avidya, how they interpreted avidya, this concept. So he had a serious difficulty in accepting this Mula Vidya. So what is this Mula Vidya? The first thing to say is that if we look at all the Indian philosophical systems and all the philosophical systems in the world, we will find out that avidya is always conceived as a misconception. It is a false idea. A false idea regarding things. It's a mithya prapti. It is intended in an epistemological sense. A wrong notion. This is all avidya. More or less, everybody even in language, in our common language, when we say avidya, it's simply ignorance, that we are ignoring something, we don't know something. So, and this is how Shankaracharya did it. Now, Mula Vidyavadins, they consider this avidya as an entity, as a metaphysical principle, as a bhavarupa, some positive identity, and they identify this avidya with prakriti, maya, bija, the cause, seminal cause of the world, some sort of achetana metaphysical principle of reality. But Swamiji has serious difficulties in accepting this view, because Shankaracharya says that avidya is a dhyasa. Avidya is just a concept. The words that Shankaracharya use are mithya buddhi, mithya pratyaya, bhranti, mithya jnana. These is even certain Western Indologies, Paul Hacker for example, for quoting one, they came to the same conclusion and say for Shankara, if we take a look at it, if we just consider Shankaracharya's Bhashya, for Shankara Aditya is Nitya Jnana. It's not a Bhavarupa entity. But then with Padmapada, Manshapadikakara, the first commentators on Brahma Sutra Bhashya, we have a different interpretation of that term, Nitya Jnana, where he has the Padacheda, he divides the words in a different and very peculiar way. He interprets Mithya Jnana as Mithya Ajnana. He said that is a false, indescribable substance, avidya. So why he is doing that? What is, how this Vyakyanakara are reasoning, are thinking? So they are basically, their mind, they have a tendency towards realism. They tend to accept the world outside, the anatma, through perception. They say we are seeing anatma, we are seeing the world outside, and we are accepting that. It has some certain of reality. It exists. Then it gets falsified, so it is not sat, it is mithya, but it is not a sat, it is not not existent, because I am seeing the tree, I am seeing people here. So there should be a cause. But they are an atma. They are non-atma, so they are not chetana. They are achetana. Only atma is chetana, is consciousness. So there should be a cause for this word jagat. But the cause should share similarity. It's not similarity, the same nature of the effect. From a conscious cause, there cannot be an unconscious word. So they say the cause for an achetana word is an achetana cause, which is prakriti, which is mula vidya. There isn't exactly in this way. There should be sarupya, a common nature between cause and effect. So the cause of the word, we have seen before that the cause of the word for Shankara was Brahman. He says Brahman Jagat. Now they are saying no, Brahman is not creating the word, is mula vidya. That is doing the parinama, is transforming to the whole Jagat Prapancha. Brahman is already the Adhishthana of this Mula Vidya. This Mula Vidya is located in Brahman. So this theory, Swamiji has serious difficulty in accepting this theory, because then they also, they have all a doctrine. They say that this Mula Vidya is two fundamental Shaktis, Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti. So it has the capacity to conceal. It is a substance that is concealing, veiling the resplendent prakasha of Parabrahma. Something that is obscuring the nature of Brahman. And it has a Vikshepa Shakti, through which it creates the world. So all the Namarup, all the forms of the anatma, the things that we see, are created by this projection of this Vikshepa Shakti. And this avidya exists in all the three states. It is in deep sleep it exists in karana form, in the causal form, and in dream and waking state it exists as karana karya, in the form of karana, in the form of effects. So it is always present. Even the jnani, the person who has realized the truth, the non-duality, even for him there is still this avidya lesha, there is this some remnant, some shesha of avidya, and so he is still experiencing the world, he is still seeing duality, he is still this problem with duality, he is still existing in the world, till he has to wait for the exhaustion of his prarabdha karma, and after the when he leave this mortal coil, he will achieve videha mukti. So it is some sort of after after death he will know Brahma, he will realize the absolute non-duality. We could ask ourselves what happened when a person died, because when you die, you immediately you take another body, a subtle body that takes you to another loka. So actually, the death of our body doesn't mean that you become really asharirim. You take another body. So asharirim bhava, it is only from our standpoint, because if you take another body, you are still sharirim. You still have a body. So what happened in the death? The first you are seeing duality, then you die, and then you immediately stop seeing duality and you start seeing non-duality. So this is one of the problems in their philosophy. But the major problem of this Mula Vidya, Swamiji's, what creates serious problem to Swamiji, is that Brahman is not the only cause of the world. It is not the only Jagat Karanam, but there are two causes for this world, which are Brahman and Mula Vidya. So we have dual, we could say the causal stages is not only for Brahman, but it is also for Avidya. Avidya is also the causal stages. So we have two causes for the world. So there is duality in principle in the beginning. There is duality there. And then this Mula Vidya, they say it exists in all the three states. I said before, it exists in deep sleep, in dreaming state, in waking state. So we are always experiencing duality. We are always, there is always Brahman and Avidya. Brahman and Avidya, Brahman and Avidya. So we don't have an experience of non-duality. We don't have a real, in our Swarupa, we never have this experience of non-duality. So non-duality becomes an assertion, something that Shruti is Paroksha. It is something that Shruti is saying to us, that there is Turiya and there is Turiya Atman and there is non-duality, but we are not experiencing that. We have to wait till we get the jnana, so either through samadhi or through samadhi, then we know, get the jnana. And from that standpoint, that is paramarthika drishti, then we understand non-duality. But in our factual experience here and now, we never experience non-duality. So all the Upanishads, all the Vedantas, Vedanta becomes more a kind of faith, more rather than a factual experience. So I want to know that the non-duality here and now, I want you to prove me that I am non-dual now, even without quoting Shruti, even without, you can use Anumana based on our experience of Sarvatrik Anubhava, is based on the universal experience. This is how I want you, the Guru, to prove me non-duality. So basically this major problem is that this teaching in some sense implies the duality. And also there are so many problems in this theory that also how can I remove something that it is positive? How can I remove avidya if avidya is not here? If it is not just a concept. If it is a misconcept, I can remove. I change ideas, I change my mind, and I understand things in a different light. But if avidya is somewhere remote, it is located in Brahman, it has its ashraya in Brahman. So there is ashraya veda, there is a defect. How can I remove something which is located outside myself? It is very difficult to explain. And also it is positive. Shankaracharya stated so many times in the Bhashya that jnana doesn't remove things. Jnana is only yeah, exactly. It is just highlighting the fact, showing reality. It is Vastu Tantra. But for removing something, we have to do some kind of action. We have to act. So this action is Purusha Tantra. So there is impossibility of removing this Bhava-rupa avidya. So these are the major problems. On the contrary, Swamiji says, if we look at Shankara Bhashya, avidya is never intended in this ontological sense. Avidya is only an epistemological principle. It is only a misconcept. And only jnana it is removable, it can be removed by samyak jnana. When we have the correct knowledge, we remove this misconception. So it is much more easier. And even this relationship between vidya, vidya, even this is just an adhyarupa bhavana. This is just adhyarupa. Because all this, that there is a person who is ignorant, who has avidya, and is removing his avidya. All these are just in the framework of avidya. Knowledge and ignorance for Shankara are in the framework of avidya. But from the Paramarthika Drishti, the supreme, how things are, nobody is ever ignorant, nobody is ever asadhaka. So we have the famous shloka of Gaudapada Acharya. Nanirodo, na chodpati, na baddho, na cha sadhaka, na mumukshur, na vemukta, ityesha paramarthata. So even here, so this vidya that is also an adhyarupa bhava. We can also apply this methodology to it. So for Shankara, this avidya is just the adhyasa. It is just the superimposition of self or not self. Is just believing that I am something that I am not. That I am this body, that I am this mind, that I am samsari. All these misconceptions, this is just adhyasa. It is just a misconception. So, now I will come to the third teaching of the third revolution of Swamiji, of Swamiji's works. How he read, how he interpreted, how is he could great manana, great depth of thinking, how he understood the Avastatraya Viveka, which is the examination of the three states. This is also actually an application of Adhyarupa Bhavana, but and it is a very complex and difficult science. So I will just briefly touch certain points because I cannot go too much into details in this. Now, the great discovery of Swamiji is that, of course, this Avastatraya Viveka is the uniqueness of Advaita Vedanta. This is how Vedanta differs from all other philosophical systems in the world. This is the uniqueness.
Coconut.
So, this all other philosophical systems in the world, they are based on only generalized only waking states. They may be considering also dream state as an individual phenomenon, as an epiphenomenon of conscious of our jiva, jivatva, our individual personality, our mind. But and also sushupti, they don't consider sushupti. They think it is just darkness. They don't take into account. But Advaita Vedanta examines all the three states as they are presented to our experience, how we are experiencing the three states. So it is a teaching based on our sarvatrik anubhava, this is the intuition of experience of our three states. It's not how we think about the states, it's how we are experiencing these states. So, if we look at the both Shankarites, they tend to interpret these states in a personal or individual sense. So they were thinking that there is a universe, a world that is eternal and it is outside us. We are in this world as jivas, and we are experiencing these three states. So we are experiencing waking, then we are going into dream states, and it is our private, it is our own private world. It is something that relates to our waking minds. And then we are also going into the deep sleep, where we are experiencing tamas. We don't see anything. We are in a state of complete ignorance in deep sleep. But in this way, the jiva is traveling among the states. From the waking state is going to dream state, from this dream state is going to deep sleep, and coming back. So they have this vision, but the world outside is still there. The universe, the prapancha is still outside me. I am not removing this idea that there is a universe through this avastha-traya viveka. So, avastha-traya viveka doesn't serve its real purpose. If we, he pointed out that the world, the entire world, the entire prapancha, the entire jagrat, it is in the framework of the state. It is in the avastha. So all the causal effect relationships, the word, the anatman, everything is included in the avastha. It is always concomitant with the consciousness. So all the world is included, comprehended in the avastha. So this is revolutionary because you can understand that you are not in the world, you are not a jiva in the world, and where there are other jiva, but you are the consciousness, the sakshi, in which all the world is appearing. So you are the universal consciousness. And the world is existing in you can say. It is existing in you. It is not independent of you. So you are much more than you are thinking now. Then, if we analyze the dream state, as we experience the dream state, it is not so different from waking state. When we think from the waking standpoint that the dream state is the personal. In the dream we see the things that we have seen in the waking. It is a projection of our subconscious mind. This is how we see the dream from the waking standpoint. But when we experience the dream, we don't have this concept. We are experiencing the dream precisely in the same way as we experience the waking state. So in the dream we are subject, and there is a world that it is outside us, and we are experiencing joys and sorrows, and the same things that happen in the waking state. The causal laws, the laws of the dreams are different from the waking state. We can see strange things, we see people flying. The physical law of the waking state are different in some sense. But if we analyze the dream from the standpoint of our own experience, we can see that it is, we can say it is as a waking state. When we experience it, it is a waking state. So this means that both the dream and the waking states are just appearing to me, are just appearing inside me. So the common thing which exists among the states is only the sakshi, the consciousness that is observing these states, the waking and dream. All other things appear and disappear. So the waking states, it is here and now, but when we start dreaming, it doesn't exist anymore. So it was just an appearance. And same for the dream state. So the dream state is just an appearance inside me. When there is the consciousness in some sense entering a relationship, it becomes related consciousness. It becomes consciousness, subject related to object. This is basically a state. A subject which is relating with the world. But we see that when deep sleep, we are experiencing deep sleep, all these appearances that were there in waking and dream, they get swallowed. They disappear and they get swallowed in deep sleep state where sushupti sthana, where we exist without all these phenomenal words. So where we exist as pure consciousness. So if we see how we experience deep sleep, it is just pure existence. It is just pure consciousness. So we are not knowing anything else because it is a state of pure non-duality. Now, this deep sleep can be seen from two standpoints. It can be imagined from the waking standpoint, or it can be seen for what it actually is. So from the standpoint of our own experience. This is also the Rupa. When we are thinking of deep sleep, we imagine that deep sleep is the bija, it is a karanavastha, it is the cause of the appearances of dream and waking state. So there is a mula vidya there, and this mula vidya then produce all the modification that we see in the world. So this is how we are imagining that experience. This is how we are thinking, imagining about something that we cannot fully understand, because we cannot fully understand what is Brahman by way of thinking. We can only intuit our own nature. We can just intuit our inner core, our sakshi. We cannot think about it because all the thoughts, they are just objects of our consciousness. We cannot think about it. So if these Mula Vidyavadins, the post-Shankarites, tend to interpret Sushupti as Karanavastha. So they were thinking of Sushupti from the waking standpoints. But if we see the Bhashya, Shankara Bhashyas, we see that Shankara in different points, he clearly states that Sushupti is Swarupa. In Brihadaranyaka Bhashya, in Mandukya Upanishad Bhashya, Shankara is saying that Sushupti is pure bliss, pure existence, and we are there, we exist there in a non-dual, as non-dual Brahman. So this was and this Sushupti experience is the authentic Advaita Pramana. This word is showing us that the true nature of the world is non-dual, is Advaita. Otherwise, if we maintain that deep sleep, there is still avidya in deep sleep, there is some sort of duality, we cannot establish Advaita. So deep sleep, we see, in deep sleep, we see that all the words disappear. So the waking state and the dream state, all this disappears in deep sleep. And we stay as Sakshi, we stay as Brahman. So I think we should really thank Swamiji for his contributions and for how he really understood the nature of the Vastatraya Viveka, the Rupa Nyaya, how it recites the concept of Mula Vidya. If we deeply contemplate his Upadeshas, if we really follow his words, he's inviting us to analyze our own experience. He's inviting us to analyze our own experience of the states, our own experience of deep sleep. So he's telling us, you should watch watch your own experience, don't think about the states, check your own experience. You will find out, if you analyze your factual experience, how you experiencing things, you will analyze, you will discover that you are non-dual. So you are non-dual Brahman. So I think, yeah, I will stop. I will end my talk. So thank you all for your attention, and it was a pleasure to talk with you. This is incredible, you know?
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಕೃಷ್ಣಶಂಕರ್. ಶ್ರೀ ಕೃಷ್ಣಶಂಕರ್ ಅವರು ಇಷ್ಟು ಹೊತ್ತು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದನ್ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನುವಾದ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಶ್ರೀಗಳವರ ಒಂದು ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ಕಾಣಿಕೆಗಳು ಈ ವೇದಾಂತ ಪ್ರಪಂಚಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವರು ಪ್ರಸ್ತಾಪ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಅಧ್ಯಾರೋಪಾಪವಾದ ನ್ಯಾಯ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಉಪದೇಶ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಉಪದೇಶದ ಕ್ರಮದಿಂದ ಈ ಅಷ್ಟೋ ವೇದಾಂತ ಉಪದೇಶ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಒಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯಾಗಿ ಕಂಡುಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, ನಾನು ಗಂಡು ನಾನು ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಇತ್ಯಾದಿ. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಭಾವನೆ ಏನಿದೆಯೋ ವೇದ ಮಾತೆ ಬಂದು ಆ ಒಂದು ಭಾವನೆಯನ್ನ ಇನ್ನಷ್ಟು ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮವಾದ ನಮ್ಮದೇ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ರೂಪವನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸಿ ಸತ್ಯದ ಭಾವನೆಯನ್ನ ಕಳಚಿ ಹಾಕತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಒಂದು ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವೇ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೀವಿ. ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಇದೇನ ನಾನು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಭಾವನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೀವಿ. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮದಿಂದ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಗೋತ್ರವಾದಂತಹ ಇದು ದೇಹ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಅಧ್ಯಾರೋಪ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಮೂಲ ಸ್ರೋತಸ್ಸು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ವಿ. ಈ ಮಣ್ಣು ಇತ್ಯಾದಿ ಪಂಚಭೂತಗಳಿಂದ ಬಂದವರು ನಾವು ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾವನೆ ಏನಿದೆಯೋ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮದೇ ಒಂದು ರೂಪಾಂತರ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಮಾತನ್ನ ವೇದ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ ನಾನು ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಭಾವನೆಯನ್ನು ಮೀರುತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದೇ ದೇಹ ನಾನಾಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಭಾವನೆ ಇದೆಯೋ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮವಾದಂತಹ ಪ್ರಾಣಮಯನಾಗಿದ್ದೀಯ ನೀನು. ಈ ದೇಹ ಏನಿದೆಯೋ ಈ ವಸ್ತು ಏನು ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯೋ ಪ್ರಾಣನ ಚಲನೆ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಒಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ಇರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಹಿಡಿದಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯನ್ನು ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ನಾನು ಪ್ರಾಣನಾಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವೇದಾಂತದ ಉಪದೇಶ ಮೊದಲು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋ ಒಂದು ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯವನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡು ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯವನ್ನು ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೇಳಿ ನೀವು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಲೆ ನಿಂತಾಗ ಪ್ರಾಣನು ಕೂಡ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸಂಕಲ್ಪ ವಿಕಲ್ಪಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುಗುಣವಾಗಿ ಅಲಗಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನೀವು ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ಸ್ವರೂಪದವರಾಗಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಇನ್ನು ಒಳಗಡೆ ನೀವು ಕಳಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಒಂದನ್ನ ಹೇಳುತ್ತಾ ಅದನ್ನ ಆ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯವನ್ನು ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡ ಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮವಾದ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯವನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹದ್ದು ಏನಿದೆ ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ, ಇದು ಅಧ್ಯಾರೋಪಾಪವಾದ ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ ಸರ್ವಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ. ಇಡೀ ವೇದಾಂತಗಳು ಈ ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯಾನುಸಾರವಾಗಿಯೇ ಪಾಠ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಶಂಕರರು ಯದ್ಯಪಿ ಗುರುತಿಸಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಅದನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಕಂಡು ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವರು ಸದ್ಯದ ಗುರುಗಳು ಮಹಾಗುರುಗಳು ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದೇಂದ್ರ ಸರಸ್ವತಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳು. ಆ ಅಂಶವನ್ನು ಇವರು ನಮ್ಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇದು ಅಧ್ಯಾರೋಪಾಪವಾದ ನ್ಯಾಯ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಅವರ ಮನನ. ಆ ಶಂಕರ ಭಾಷೆಯನ್ನು ನೋಡಿ ಮನನ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಸರಳವಾಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಈ ರೂಪಕ್ಕಿಂತಲೂ ಇನ್ನು ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮವಾದ ರೂಪಕ್ಕೆ ನನ್ನ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಉಪದೇಶವನ್ನು ವೇದ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಈ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟತೆ ಹಿಂದಿನವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಗಿತ್ತೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಆದ್ರೆ ನಮಗಂತೂ ಅದೃಷ್ಟ ಸಜ್ಜನ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳು ಈ ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಇದನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಅವಿದ್ಯೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೇನು ಅನ್ನೋ ವಿಷಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇವಾಗ ಸ್ಪ್ಯಾನಿಷ್ ಭಾಷೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆಯಾ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಬಹಳ ಮಂದಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಪದಾರ್ಥ ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತಾ? ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಅದು ಪದಾರ್ಥ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲಾ ವಿಷಯಕ್ಕೂ ಹೀಗೇನೆ. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ವಿಷಯ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಪದಾರ್ಥದಿಂದ ತಯಾರಾಗಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅದೊಂದು ತಪ್ಪು ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಅಂತ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ನನಗೆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಥವಾ ನಾನು ಯಾರು ಅಂತ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ತಪ್ಪು ಕಲ್ಪನೆ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಸರಿಯಾದ ಕಲ್ಪನೆ ನೀವು ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಈ ತಪ್ಪು ಕಲ್ಪನೆ ಹೊರಟೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಅವಿದ್ಯಾ ವಿಷಯಕ್ಕೆ ಅನವಶ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ಮತ್ತೆ ಈ ತಪ್ಪು ಕಲ್ಪನೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ವಸ್ತುಭೂತವಾದ ಮೂಲ ವಿದ್ಯಾ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಹುಟ್ಟಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಕಲ್ಪನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಏನ್ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಶಂಕರರ ಉತ್ತರಕಾರಿನ ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯಾನಕಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದರ ಅನವಶ್ಯಕ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಬುದ್ಧಿಯ ಉದ್ದಾಟ ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಸರಳವಾಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಅನುಭವದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಇದೆ, ನಾನು ನನ್ನೇ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಇದೊಂದು ತಪ್ಪು ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ. ಇಷ್ಟು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು. ಈ ಒಂದು ಸರಳವಾದಂತಹ ಉಪದೇಶ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ಆ ಕ್ಲಿಷ್ಟತೆಯನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸರಳವಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ಇದು ಸತ್ಯಾನಂದ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ಕೊಡುಗೆ. ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇವರು ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಟ್ರು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಅವರು ಪ್ರಸ್ತಾಪ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಅವಸ್ಥಾಪನೆ ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತು, ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಸರಸ್ವತಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳವರ ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳನ್ನ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡೋರಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತು. ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳು ಪರಮಾರ್ಥ ಚಿಂತಾಮಣಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವಸ್ಥಾತ್ರಯ ಚಂದ್ರಿಕೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಕನ್ನಡ ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳನ್ನು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಾಂಡುಕ್ಯ ರಹಸ್ಯ ವೃತ್ತಿ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಗ್ರಂಥವನ್ನು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಗ್ರಂಥವನ್ನು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಎಚ್ಚರ, ನನ್ನ ಕನಸು, ನನ್ನ ಸುಷುಪ್ತಿ ಇವುಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಈ ಎಚ್ಚರದ ಒಂದು ಅಭಿಮಾನದಿಂದ ಕನಸನ್ನು ಕೀಳಾಗಿ ನೋಡೋದು, ಸುಷುಪ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಕೀಳಾಗಿ ನೋಡೋದು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸಹಜವಾಗಿ ಇದ್ದು ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಸುಷುಪ್ತಿಯನ್ನ ಕಾಲಹರಣದ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, ಟೈಮ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್. ಕನಸು ಹುಚ್ಚಾಟ, ಮನಸ್ಸಿನೊಂದು ಹುಚ್ಚಾಟ ಅಂತ ಭಾವಿಸ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಎಚ್ಚರದ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಈಗ ಏನು ನೀವು ತೋರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೋ ಗಂಡೋ ಹೆಣ್ಣೋ ನೀವೇನಾಗಿದ್ದೀರೋ ಅದು ಆತ ಒಂದು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಪಕ್ಷಪಾತ. ನಿಜವಾದ ತತ್ವ ವಿಚಾರಕ ಈ ಎಚ್ಚರಕ್ಕೆ ಅತಿಯಾದ ಬೆಲೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಕನಸಿಗೆ ಸುಷುಪ್ತಿಗೆ ಏನು ಬೆಲೆ ಕೊಡದೆ ಇರೋದು ಇದನ್ನು ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಪ್ರತಿ ಅನುಭವ ಹೇಗೆ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯೋ ಆ ಕಾಣುವ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನು ವಿಚಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಒಳಪಡಿಸಬೇಕು. ಇದು ನಿಜವಾದ ಒಬ್ಬ ವಿಚಾರಕನ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ವಿಚಾರದ ಶಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಪ್ರಾಮಾಣಿಕ ಆಗುವ ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಡತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಅನುಗ್ರಹ ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಸರಸ್ವತಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳಿಂದ ನಮ್ದಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವುದೇ ಅವಸ್ಥೆಗೆ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಅವಸ್ಥೆ ಕಟ್ಟು ಬಿದ್ದಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಬುದ್ಧಿಯಿಂದ ನೋಡೋದು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಿ, ಈ ಅವಸ್ಥೆ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಅವಸ್ಥೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಇದು ನನ್ನ ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳಿಂದ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಹುದಾ? ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಅವಸ್ಥೆಯ ಅಂತರ್ಗತವಾಗಿದೆ. ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಿಂದ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದಾ? ಮನಸ್ಸು ಈ ಅವಸ್ಥೆಯ ಒಳಗೆ ಬಿದ್ದಿದೆ. ಬುದ್ಧಿಯಿಂದ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ? ಬುದ್ಧಿಯು ಕೂಡ ಅವಸ್ಥೆಯ ಒಳಗೆ ಸೇರಿದೆ. ಹೀಗೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ನೀವು ಅವಸ್ಥೆಯನ್ನು ನೋಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಿಸ್ತೀರೋ, ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಿಸಿದ ಕೂಡಲೇ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಕಾರಣವೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವಸ್ಥೆಯ ಒಳಗಡೆನೆ ಸೇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಕಾರಣವು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೋಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಕಣ್ಣು, ಮೂಗು, ಬಾಯಿ, ಮನಸ್ಸು, ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಇದೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವಸ್ಥೆಯ ಒಳಗೆ ಸೇರಿಸಿ ಇದನ್ನು ನೋಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಿಸಬೇಕು. ಆಗ ಇದು ಹೇಗೆ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ ಅನ್ನುವ ಕಡೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನು ಎಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬರುವಂತಹ ಕೆಲಸ ಸತ್ಯಾನಂದ ಸರಸ್ವತಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕೊಡುಗೆ. ಈ ಕಣ್ಣಿನಿಂದ ನೀವು ನೋಡೋದು ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಡೀ ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ತತ್ವವನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಈ ವಿಚಾರದಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡಬಹುದು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದೊಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕೊಡುಗೆ. ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನು ಸೆಳೆದ್ರು. ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಇಡೀ ಜೀವಮಾನವು ಪ್ರತಿನಿತ್ಯವೂ ಗಂಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳೋದ್ರು ಹೇಳಿ ಮುಗಿಸಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಗನ್ಸಲ್ಲ. 200ಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳು, ವಿಧ ವಿಧವಾದಂತಹ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ ಪ್ರಕಾರ. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಕುಸುಮ ಷಟ್ಪದಿ ಪ್ರಕಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಗ್ರಂಥವನ್ನು ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಗುರುವಿನ ಮೇಲೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಭಜನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಬರೀತಾರೆ. ಸಣ್ಣ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ದೊಡ್ಡವರಾದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ಅಧ್ಯಯನಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾದಂತಹ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯವನ್ನು ಬರೀತಾರೆ. ವೇದಾಂತ ಪ್ರವೇಶ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಪಾರಿಭಾಷಿಕ ಶಬ್ದಕೋಶಗಳ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಗ್ರಂಥ ಬರೀತಾರೆ. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗ್ರಂಥದ ಅರಿವಾದ ಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮದ ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳನ್ನು ಓದ್ಬೇಕಾ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುವಾದ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅನುವಾದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಓದ್ತಾ ಓದ್ತಾ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾಡಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳೆದು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸತ್ತಾ, ಅದ್ರೆಲ್ಲದ್ರೂ ಸಾರ ಸಂಗ್ರಹ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ ಭಕ್ತಿ ಭಾವ ಬೇಕು, ಭಕ್ತಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ನಾನು ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಈ ಒಂದು ತತ್ವಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಶರಣಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಇದನ್ನು ತಿಳಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತಾ, ಆ ಭಕ್ತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ದಾರಿ ತಪ್ಪಬಹುದು ಅದನ್ನು ತಿದ್ದಿಸಿ ಸರಿಯಾದ ನಿಷ್ಕಾಮವಾದಂತಹ ಭಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಪಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಹೇಗೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಗ್ರಂಥ ಬರೀತಾರೆ. ಇದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಅವರ ಅನುಗ್ರಹ, ಎಷ್ಟು ವಿಧವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಅವರು ಸತ್ಯಾನಂದ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಒಬ್ಬ ಅಜ್ಜ ಅವರು, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಮೊಮ್ಮಕ್ಕಳು, ಪುಟ್ಟ ಮೊಮ್ಮಕ್ಕಳು, ಅವರು ಹೊಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರ ಕಿರುಬೆರಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಬೆಳೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು, ಅವರು ಸಕಲ ವಿಧವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಕಾಪಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲೂ ದಾರಿ ತಪ್ಪಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಡೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅಂತಹ ಮಹಾ ಸದ್ಗುರುಗಳು ಅವರು ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳನ್ನ ಬರೆದಿಟ್ರೆ ಆ ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳ ಪ್ರಭಾವ ನೋಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಇಟಲಿನಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳ ಗ್ರಂಥ ಓದಿ ತನ್ನ ಹೃದಯಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ತಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ತರ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲೂ, ಸರ್ಬಿಯಾ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ದೇಶದಿಂದ ಒಬ್ಬ ಹುಡುಗ ಬಂದಿದ್ದ, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ತೀನಿ, ಆಫ್ರಿಕಾದ ಎಸ್ಕಿಮೋ ಜನಾಂಗದ ಒಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಲಿ, ಆಫ್ರಿಕಾದ ಆಫ್ರಿಕಾದ ಒಂದು ಕುಬ್ಜ ಜನಾಂಗದವರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಎಸ್ಕಿಮೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಬಿಡಿ ಜನಾಂಗದವರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅವ್ರು ಯಾರು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಆಗಿರ್ಲಿ, ಎಚ್ಚರ ಕನಸು ನಿದ್ರೆಗಳನ್ನ ವಿಮರ್ಶೆ ಮಾಡುವಂತವರಾದರೆ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನ ಅವರು ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ತಟ್ಟತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೋ ಭಾರತದ ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೋ ಭಾರತದ ಒಂದು ಮೂಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಗ್ರಾಮ ಸದೃಶವಾದ ಹೀನ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಕುತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಗುರುಗಳು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯವನ್ನು ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಮುಟ್ಟತ್ತೆ, ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಹೃದಯಕ್ಕೆ ತಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣ ಶಂಕರರೇಣೆ. ಶಂಕರರು ಸಾವಿರಾರು ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಹಿಂದೆ ಏನ್ ಬರೆದಿಟ್ರು, ಅವರು ಬರೆದಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ಈಗಲೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೃದಯಕ್ಕೆ ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಂತಹ ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಸರಸ್ವತಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದು ಕೂಡ ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಯಾರ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾರ ಹೃದಯಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂತಹದ್ದು ನಾವು ಮಹಾಪುಣ್ಯವಂತರು. ನಮಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಅವರು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳನ್ನು ಬರೆದಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾವು ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಇಂತಹ ಸಂದರ್ಭವನ್ನ, ಇಂತಹ ಜನ್ಮವನ್ನ, ಈ ಕನ್ನಡ ಭಾಷೆಯ ಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನ ಕಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಲೇಬಾರದು. ಸದಾ ಗುರುಗಳ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನ ಮನನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಓದ್ತಾನೆ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಎದುರುಗಡೆನೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗ್ರಂಥದ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ನಮಗೆ ಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವದಿಂದ ಓದಬೇಕು. ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗಿಯೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ಗುರುಗಳು ಸಕಲ ಅನುಗ್ರಹವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬೇರೆ ದೇಶದಿಂದ ಬಂದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇವರು ಈ ರೀತಿ ಆಳವಾಗಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತಪಡಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವರಿಗೆ ಬಹಳ ನಾವು ಅನಂತ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಹೀಗೆ ಸದಾಕಾಲ ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ಬಂದು ತಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರವಚನಗಳ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಮತ್ತೆ ಈ ಸೇವೆಗಳನ್ನು ಸಲ್ಲಿಸೋದ್ರ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಸೇರಿಯೇ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ನನ್ನ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೀನಿ.